So I got the letter, but I didn't look at it until weeks after. And I found it very interesting and something worth doing something about. And so I have to start by letting us to remind ourselves what we already know. We've been talking about education. What is education? We say education is a purposeful activity directed at achieving certain aims, such as transmitting knowledge or fostering skills and character traits. These aims may include development of understanding, rationality, kindness, honesty, and whatever the intention is. In Nigeria, we have always said that education is the bedrock of national development. This implies that the development of any nation depends on education. And we often say that no nation can rise above the quality of its education system, implying that it's this kind of education system we give or bequeath to our children, to our citizens, that depends on the kind of human capital we will have, and that would depend on the quality of knowledge and skills they will have and the extent to which it will affect the development of the economy of the nation. Education brings transformation of a nation by equipping the citizen with the requisite knowledge, competencies, techniques, and skills that make them more functional and effective to contribute to the development of the nation. This is corroborated by Tornado and Smith that says that human capital development is considered a necessary condition for development and the only route to economic progress and prosperity. It is education that transforms the society's army of human resources into human capital development. Therefore, any society that is incapable of developing its citizens and make them functional to bring about transmission in the economy will not be able to develop anything at all in that economy. In line with above, education empowers learners with knowledge, skills, values, attitudes to be resilient, adaptable, and it prepares them for uncertain futures while contributing to human and national well-being and sustainable development. That brings us to remind ourselves of the objectives, goals, missions, and visions of the Nigerian education system. The Nigerian National Policy on Education stipulated the objectives of the education to include inculcation of consciousness and national unity, inculcation of the right values and attitudes for the survival of the individuals and the society, training of mind and understanding of the world around, and I want to emphasize it, the acquisition of appropriate skills and development of mental, physical, and social abilities, competencies as equipment for the individual to live and contribute to the development of the society. Similarly, the goal we know to build a free and democratic society, and the vision is for Nigeria to become an economy model, developing sound education for good, for the public, or the good of the public. The mission is to use education as the tool for fostering development of all the citizens. In recognition of this, the Nigerian government established the education system that must prepare and equip the citizens to effectively contribute to national development. Therefore, the education that is given must be able to build the capacity of its citizens with requisite knowledge, skills, and competencies to drive the country's mission for sustainable development, and also to achieve the vision of Nigeria to become an economic model. Education in Nigeria is expected to prepare and equip Nigerian youths to take the competitive advantage of the 21st century knowledge driven economy nationally and globally. In trying to achieve this, goals and objectives, visions, and all that, Nigerian government, through the Federal Ministry of Education and its numerous parastatals, developed several policies and programs targeted at developing individuals into morally, academically sound, effective, and skilled citizens that are globally relevant, providing equal and unfettered opportunities for all citizens of the nation at all levels of education, using the formal and non-formal school system, starting from the kindergarten, primary education, secondary education, tertiary education, including other TVET institutions like the innovative enterprise institutions and the vocational enterprise institutions, which are under the purview of the NBT. Also, the ministerial strategic plan of this current government has the intention of articulating a pathway to reposition Nigeria's education sector to effectively play its central role in national reform and in achieving developmental agenda set by its present administration. So it's promised and prepared a roadmap to the education sector. In the 10 developmental pillars this present government has set, the ones for the education sector focuses on 3 result areas: access, quality, and system strengthening. An effort is being made through this to achieve the goals and objectives of education in Nigeria. Now let's look at Nigerian education and the impact it has on the economic development of the nation. The importance of human capital and education in the economic growth of the country or any country has been revealed in the returns that accrue from the various forms of basic education trainings, research, and capacity building in some developed countries such as US and UK. The Nigerian 6334 system, or you call it 934 system of education, is expected to serve as a life-oriented education that will prepare graduates at every level with life skills such as reflection, interpersonal skills, critical thinking, problem-solving skills that will make them functional and useful to themselves, their families, and the entire society. For instance, the university education and curriculum is structured to prepare its graduates to contribute towards national development and to develop entrepreneurs to create employment and boost economic growth. The colleges of education to prepare their graduates to become competent teachers that will implement and impart this expected knowledge and skills to their graduates. And also, the polytechnics to provide the technical training, skill acquisition that equip graduates to contribute to industrial and economic development of the country. I think the vision and the steps and the policies have been put in place. However, we are looking at how they are working. The expectations were there and the systems were created. The different levels of education have what they are expected to do. But the problem is, are they achieving the purposes for which they were set up? So the success and how much the educational goals and objectives have been achieved can be determined by the impact it has in driving economic growth and development through human capital development. How much the sector has addressed the dearth of people with required skills and technological know-how to create a self-sustaining economy is what will give us the result of how much the system, the goals. The system has achieved the goals, the vision, and the mission. So despite numerous efforts by successive governments in Nigeria to make education achieve its objectives and goals, there seems to be a gap between the expectations and the results in terms of human capital and economic development. Due to instability in governance in the country since it gained independence, the country has not been able to successfully implement a set of education policy. We are aware of the regional differences in quality, the curriculum, in funding because education is said to be on the concurrent list. One of the major complaints employers have with the current education system is the disconnect between what the content that is taught in the classroom and the experience required to successfully function effectively in the world of work or required to get a job. And this has left many youths unemployed. As observed by Marketer 2015 in his study on education, employability, and crisis of unemployment in Nigeria, he said, the Nigerian educational system has not been able to equip the students with skills that should make them employable. Hence, he recommended entrepreneurial education as a pathway for making Nigerian graduates employable. And I think that is what Engineer Tongston is trying to emphasize on. Youth unemployment has been linked with the quality of the products of Nigerian education. The prevailing complaint, as I said earlier, is that Nigerian graduates lack the required skill for labor markets and employers find them inadequately equipped by their education for the job market. This has been attributed to the claim that the curriculum for the different levels of education in Nigeria is outdated and no more relevant, and that the Nigerian university curriculum seems to be more content-oriented than outcome-driven. Also, that there is no collaboration between the industries, labor market, and the Nigerian institutions of learning. Others include lack of emphasis on entrepreneurship in school curriculum, lecturers not possessing the current knowledge. Their knowledge is often said to be obsolete, some of them. Skills and knowledge impacted are not marketable enough to inspire confidence in students after graduation. The quality training not synchronizing with the situations of the society. Of course, you cannot give what you don't have. We are aware every time they are saying our graduates are unemployable, and I begin to ask. I asked them in one program I was in World Bank organized with some professors or vice chancellors of universities under Step B project then. And I happened to be representing my organization. I was new in my organization then, but I was fresh from the institution, fresh from the academics, fresh as a teacher and a student. So I asked them, I said, with due respect to all the professors and vice chancellors here, our graduates are unemployable. Who produced them? You. You produce me, and I'm also producing others as a teacher. What did you give to me that I should give to them? How many of our professors today with their experiences that kept them in this show that make the government say they should stay 70 years are supervising students' project themselves? How many of our professors in the university are teaching their courses by themselves, other than giving to their students, giving to their master students, and other PhD or PhD students to go and do and deliver their lectures? Not even the ones they have prepared, but just ask them to go and hold on the class. And they answer professors and they gain everything. I am sorry to say this. That is part of the problems we are having that is making Nigeria not to achieve its aims and purposes of education. If every teacher that have spent years in the institution, in the classroom, can use the experiences he has acquired in the course of his teaching and impart knowledge by changing the methods, changing the contents, making them relevant to current situations, I think we will not be saying that our graduates are unemployable. So the problem is that because we use the same notes that we used when we were in school, we still bring it to class to teach. And the same notes or content that I used to teach 100 level 2001, I will still use it in 2006. Does it mean that nothing has changed? We have a lot of professors and researchers. We are still dwelling on the theories of Sigmund Freud. for those of us in psychology and education, Adler, Skinner's, have those situations not changed? Child development theories, the one I will say that I would like somebody to experiment. In those days, they said the child will not see for about 3 months or whatever. You do hand like this, child will not see. And that was the perception, the research they did to talk about those theories, stipulate those theories, propose those theories. Now, a child of how many weeks you do like this, he's seeing, he's watching television. Do you think that those theories still play? Are they still relevant? Why have we not developed other educational theories? Have we not? We are still quoting Bab Fafunwa. What is happening now? Is it happening in the time of Bab Fafunwa? These are the problems. And this is why they say our youths are not employable. You don't direct them. You don't equip them. It is what you have that you can give. According to Pearson researchers, allowing students to gather contextual workplace knowledge provide them with that missing ingredient they need to become the employees companies seek. One way to do this is by investing in technology with experts and professionals from different spheres of life. We have talked here, the earlier speakers talked about not limiting education, not limiting the students. So our classroom should not be limited. So in recognition of the above and to address the challenges, the curriculum of the different levels of Nigerian education has been reviewed to inculcate entrepreneurship and information communication technology. I will say that I have been a part of the review of some curriculum, especially the NCC curriculum, which is the teacher training regulatory body. And even the NYSC scheme has also integrated skill acquisition programs and entrepreneurship into their programs. Other programs introduced by the government to bridge the existing gap include and human capital development include the Empower. We hear about the Empower, the Trade Money, the Oshu Youth Employment Scheme, the Youth Employment, Youth Enterprise Innovation in Nigeria. You win. We hear about them. But after going through this, have they made relevant impact? The people that teach them, do they really have the knowledge, the entrepreneurial skills to give to them? However, another challenge, as observed, remains that most of the teachers who are to inculcate these skills are not equipped with the requisite knowledge of what impact on them. Also, there is no opportunity for artisans and practitioners in entrepreneurship education to be integrated into the formal setting. Students read mechanical engineering and they can't fix tire, they can't lose tire, sorry. So what is wrong in the department of that, course? Partnering with those who have practical knowledge. But because there is no certificate, those people do not have degrees, but they have the skill. And that is why one part of what we think that NBT, if they are not doing, should be doing. I said this situation is expected to be taken care of by NBT through the TVET education and qualification framework. Because I know the qualification framework that should help this integration, Nigeria has not developed it. And most African countries have developed their qualification framework. It is only NBT that has a similar thing, but that is not the national one. I am saying this because I happen to be opportune to consult for African Union to do a study of the state of Nigeria as regards to our qualification framework. And I found out that it is only the aspect that NBT is doing that is existing in Nigeria. And we used to take it up. That is another area that will help us to ensure that this collaboration functions very well. The need for transformation change in education for the changing needs of the future. Why we are here. As the future of work unfolds, the only thing that will make us relevant and employable is the skill and knowledge bequeathed to us by education system. Nigeria of the future requires inventions in quality infrastructure, roads. We need inventors that will create alternative source of power. We are not supposed to be where we are. Somebody have mentioned that you are working, internet goes off, light goes off. Now diesel is not affordable. In the offices, what are we doing? There is time now to off the generator because of the cost of diesel. Yet we have engineers, we have professors, we have students graduating. Only their project is to go and copy what other people have done. Can't we be creative? Can't we make our students to be creative? And that is why we called for this partnership between industries and others. We can know, the faculties should know the requirements, what you need in your industries. And through them, the students can be used as their projects to begin to develop certain things. So we need all these things. And if we need them, we need researchers. We need innovators in the industry and health sectors. That is what Nigeria needs, so that we will not be going to India for treatment. So the education we need for future is one that does not limit, but enables learners to explore multiple opportunities for enhanced labor and productivity. In most of our courses, I know when I started lecturing, they gave me elective course. You know, the few students who, you know, the interest is how many students do you have to buy your textbook or your handout. And so being a new lecturer, they gave me elective course. And if I tell you what I did with that elective course, you'll be surprised. And I developed it. And every student wanted to do that course. And I still made my money through the textbook. What they were running from, I still got it. Just like what you are saying, being innovative, being creative. The elective courses, the essence is to explore other opportunities other than your own, choosing area of study. That is for the students. So you have the electives courses, but the way these elective courses are treated and handled by lecturers and the way students understand the job that is available, will you say you don't know? Oh, you have missed it. So that is why we are unemployed, because the way we present these things and the perceptions we allow our students to carry about them has not helped us. The policies are there. The intentions have been well articulated by the government. The problem is implementation. So the course and training given to students must be those identified as useful and purposeful to employers, just like UK and US, who are proactive enough to have gone further to identify 10 knowledge areas, skills and abilities that will be of greater demand in 21st century. Can't we do it? As of trying to write this paper, I stumbled into it. US identified 10 areas, courses, areas that they need to train people that is relevant to them in the 21st century. UK did yes. When I look at them, the little difference in maybe 2 or 3 differences in the areas they have identified. Can Nigerian education system not do this? So, invariably, no country can develop without transformation education. Thank you. I'm done. So we need education sector of the future that will assure an enabling environment and encourage entrepreneurship, problem solving, innovative learning that will produce youth like Bill Gates, like Mark Zuckerberg, and more of like our own Professor Emma Gwyle, who will combine their ingenuity, experience, and technology innovations to solve problems disturbing us now. Problems of crime, insecurity, unemployment, and other such problems mitigating against sustainable development in Nigeria. For Nigeria to harness the benefit of human capital and education for the growth of its economy, there is need for a transformation education system that is demand-driven. Then we ask ourselves, what is a demand? It means that your effort or motive for performing a task is based on ongoing negotiation or agreement with those who may need